From the adrenaline rush of Olympic halfpipes to the opulence of private jets, rare supercars, and a staggering $40 million motorcycle collection, all funded by blood-soaked cocaine profits that stained the streets from the jungles of Colombia to the suburbs of Canada. This is the story of how a former athlete built a billionaire lifestyle on a foundation of trafficking, hits, and sophisticated money laundering, and how it all came crashing down in a whirlwind of international raids and arrests. Stick around, because what you're about to hear is not just wild, it's a cautionary tale of ambition gone horribly wrong, blending athletic prowess with criminal cunning in ways that defy belief. We'll explore the lavish spending, the asset empire, the dark underbelly of paid assassinations, and the network that kept him untouchable for so long. By the end, you'll see how one man's pursuit of power and luxury led to devastation on a massive scale. Warning, this video contains details of graphic violence, murder, and drug trafficking. If you don't want to hear about paid hits and assassinations, skip ahead about 12 minutes. I can't stress this enough. None of this is glamorous. It's tragic, destructive, and destroys lives. We're here to expose it, not celebrate it. The lives lost, the families shattered. That's the real cost behind the luxury we're about to discuss. Think about the innocent victims caught in the crossfire, the communities ravaged by addiction, and the moral decay that comes with such pursuits. This isn't entertainment. It's a stark reminder of the human toll exacted by organized crime. This is Ryan James Wedding, the Olympic snowboarder turned alleged Sinaloa cartel-affiliated drug lord, known in the shadows as El Jefe, Giant, or Public Enemy. Standing at an imposing 6 feet 3 inches and weighing 240 pounds, this Canadian powerhouse went from competing at the 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Games, where he showcased his skills on the global stage amid cheers from international crowds, to allegedly masterminding the movement of 60 tons of cocaine a year and ordering killings to protect his sprawling empire. His story is one of stark contrasts, from the pure thrill of sports, where discipline and teamwork reign supreme, to the dark underbelly of organized crime, where betrayal and violence are the currencies of survival. Wedding's transformation serves as a chilling example of how talent can be twisted, how opportunity can lead to ruin, and how the allure of easy money can corrupt even those who've tasted legitimate success. Ryan Wedding was born on September 14, 1981, in the rugged town of Thunder Bay, Ontario, a place known for its harsh winters, vast forests, and a community that thrives on outdoor activities. Growing up in an athletic family, Ryan was no stranger to competition and physical challenges. His parents, both enthusiasts of winter sports, encouraged him and his siblings to embrace the cold, turning snowy hills into playgrounds of potential. From a young age, Wedding showed a natural aptitude for snowboarding, a sport that was just gaining traction in the mainstream during the 1990s. He spent countless hours on local slopes, perfecting tricks and building endurance, his determination evident even in his early teens when he began dominating regional competitions. Thunder Bay's environment played a crucial role in shaping him. The long winters provided ample practice time, while the town's isolation fostered a sense of self-reliance. By his late teens, Wedding had caught the eye of national scouts, leading to his inclusion in Canada's Olympic Development Program. The 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, Utah, represented the zenith of his athletic career. At just 20 years old, he competed in the men's halfpipe event, a discipline that requires not only technical skill, but also creativity and fearlessness under pressure. The halfpipe, a U-shaped ramp where athletes perform aerial maneuvers, tested Wedding's limits. While he didn't podium, finishing outside the medals, his runs were marked by bold attempts at complex tricks, earning him respect from peers and fans alike. Sponsors began to approach him, offering deals for gear and appearances, and for a fleeting moment, it seemed Wedding was on track for a professional career in snowboarding, perhaps transitioning into coaching or event organization. Post-Olympics, Wedding relocated to Vancouver, British Columbia, a city with a vibrant snowboarding scene and access to world-class mountains like Whistler. He enrolled briefly at Simon Fraser University, studying kinesiology, which aligned with his interest in human movement and performance. This period could have been a bridge to a stable future, But underlying issues began to surface. Reports suggest that the pressure of competition, combined with the temptations of urban life, led him astray. Early brushes with the law for minor offenses hinted at a rebellious streak, but it was his involvement in drug-related activities that marked the true turning point. In 2004, Wedding faced his first major legal trouble, convicted in the United States for cocaine trafficking. This stemmed from attempts to smuggle small quantities across borders. Perhaps initially as a way to fund his lifestyle or out of curiosity. He served time in a U.S. federal prison, an experience that, rather than deterring him, immersed him in a network of hardened criminals. Prisons, unfortunately, often serve as recruiting grounds for organized crime, where inmates form alliances based on shared backgrounds or mutual benefits. It was during this incarceration that Wedding met key figures, including Jonathan Acevedo Garcia, a fellow inmate with ties to South American suppliers. Their conversations likely revolved around the lucrative nature of the drug trade, planting seeds for future collaboration. Upon release in 2011, Wedding had a choice: return to the straight path, perhaps leveraging his Olympic status for motivational speaking or sports commentary, or dive deeper into the criminal world. He chose the latter, founding the Wedding Criminal Enterprise, as dubbed by prosecutors. This wasn't an impulsive decision. It was built on the connections forged in prison and his own growing ambition. Little did he know, or perhaps he willfully ignored, that this path would escalate into a web of violence, wealth, and eventual pursuit by international authorities. The early signs were there, a shift from athlete to entrepreneur, but in the shadows. His family background, while supportive in sports, offered no criminal connections initially, but Wedding's charisma and physical presence made him a natural leader in illicit circles. The path in. Emerging from prison with a hardened resolve, Wedding capitalized on his Canadian heritage, which provided a veneer of normalcy in cross-border dealings. His imposing stature, 6 feet 3 inches and 240 pounds, lent an air of intimidation, while his no-nonsense demeanor commanded respect in negotiations. He began modestly, using old prison contacts to facilitate small-scale drug movements. Vancouver's bustling ports, with their container ships from around the world, became ideal entry points for shipments. The US-Canada border, long and often under-monitored, allowed for creative smuggling. Hidden compartments in vehicles, couriers posing as tourists, even drone deliveries in remote areas. But Wedding's ambitions outgrew these humble beginnings. By the mid-2000s, he had relocated permanently to Mexico, a strategic move that placed him closer to the source. Mexico, with its complex cartel landscape, offered both danger and opportunity. Wedding aligned himself with Colombian suppliers, who provided high-quality cocaine from Andean farms, and sought protection under the Sinaloa Cartel, one of the most powerful drug trafficking organizations in the world. The Sinaloa Cartel, founded by figures like Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, controlled vast territories and had sophisticated logistics networks. Wedding's entry into this world wasn't as a low-level operative. His North American connections made him valuable for distribution northward. From Mexico, Wedding orchestrated shipments of hundreds of kilograms monthly, routing them through Southern California hubs into Canada and the U.S. interior. His operation resembled a multinational corporation, encrypted communications via apps like Signal or custom platforms, diversified smuggling methods including submarines for oceanic transport and private planes for airdrops, and a cadre of couriers who blended seamlessly into society: truck drivers, students, even professionals. Wedding's athletic background influenced his approach. He trained his teams with the same discipline he applied to snowboarding, emphasizing timing, precision, and contingency planning. Loyalty was enforced through a mix of incentives and threats. Early relationships were pivotal. Prison buddies like Acevedo Garcia handled ground-level distribution in Canada, while new alliances with Sinaloa lieutenants provided muscle and territorial security. Wedding's role evolved from facilitator to strategist, overseeing the entire supply chain. This path in was marked by calculated risks, initial small deals to build trust, then scaling up as profits rolled in. By 2015, his enterprise was generating tens of millions, setting the stage for his rise to power. But with growth came enemies, and Wedding's willingness to use violence to resolve disputes became his hallmark. Rise to power. To climb the ranks in the treacherous world of drug trafficking, Wedding needed more than luck. He required strategic alliances, unique skills, and bold decisions. His partnerships with high-level Sinaloa figures were forged through mutual benefit. Wedding's North American market access in exchange for supply and protection. These relationships were nurtured over time, often in clandestine meetings in Mexico's resorts or neutral territories. Wedding's traits set him apart. His intelligence allowed for innovative logistics, his physical presence deterred challengers, and his pragmatism ensured efficient operations without unnecessary flair. Key moves included expanding routes beyond traditional land borders. He invested in maritime operations, using go-fast boats and semi-submersibles to bypass coastal patrols. Air transport via small aircraft dropped packages in remote deserts, retrieved by ground teams. These innovations scaled his operation to import an alleged 6 metric tons of cocaine annually into Los Angeles alone, a hub that fed into nationwide distribution. Wedding's signature style blended tech savvy with traditional intimidation, blockchain for secure payments, AI for route optimization, but fallback to brute force when deals soured. At his peak, Wedding controlled a vast empire. Supply from Colombian coca fields, processing in Mexican labs, transport across borders, and distribution through networks in major cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Chicago. Stash houses in suburbs stored product, while money flowed back through launderers. His methods included compartmentalization, no one knew the full picture, and rotation of personnel to avoid patterns. Significant crimes ranged from massive shipments that flooded markets, driving down prices and outcompeting rivals, to targeted eliminations that maintained control. The enterprise allegedly generated hundreds of millions yearly, with Wedding taking a lion's share. This wealth-funded expansion and personal indulgence, projecting an aura of invincibility. But power bred paranoia. Every success invited scrutiny. Wedding's response was escalation. More security, more intel, more violence. You might assume such a life would demand discretion, but Wedding's ego pushed him toward extravagance, turning his rise into a spectacle of luxury that ultimately drew unwanted attention. Peak power, the lavish lifestyle. Imagine this. You awaken in an opulent, high-end penthouse, the morning light streaming through massive windows overlooking the vibrant chaos of Mexico City's skyline. Downstairs in a secure garage, your $13 million Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR Roadster sits polished and ready, a beast of engineering waiting to roar. Nearby, a collection of 62 museum-grade motorcycles, worth a collective $40 million, lines the walls like trophies from a conquered world. Your digital wallets pulse with over $3 million in cryptocurrency, part of a larger $250 million laundering scheme, while cash reserves in hidden safes provide instant access to whatever whim or necessity arises. This wasn't a dream, it was Ryan Wedding's meticulously crafted reality, a billionaire existence built on the back of an empire that moved mountains of cocaine. Wedding's spending habits were a masterclass in excess, designed not just for pleasure, but to assert dominance. He didn't hoard, he invested in symbols of status that laundered money while providing enjoyment. Private jets whisked him to exotic locales for business meetings, complete with onboard chefs and entertainment systems. Custom jewelry from Cartier or Tiffany, often encrusted with diamonds, sourced through shady channels, adorned him and his inner circle. Art collections featured works by modern masters like Basquiat or Warhol, purchased at auctions through proxies to clean funds. Even his wardrobe screamed luxury. Bespoke suits from Savile Row, limited edition sneakers from collaborations with artists, and watches like Patek Philippe complications, that cost more than most homes. His asset portfolio was diversified like a hedge fund. Tangible items for quick resale, real estate for stability, crypto for anonymity, and cash for flexibility. This mix ensured liquidity in crises and constant cash flow for operations. But the standout pieces, the cars, bikes, properties, and digital holdings, painted the picture of a man who lived as if laws didn't apply. Let's unpack these elements, starting with the automotive icons that defined his garage. The $13 million Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR. In the realm of hypercars, few vehicles command the reverence of the Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR. Wedding's acquisition of this rarity wasn't impulsive. It was a calculated display of wealth, produced in the late 1990s to homologate Mercedes' GT1 racing efforts. Only 28 CLK GTRs were ever built, with a mere 6 configured as roadsters. The open-top variants that offer an unfiltered driving experience. Wedding's example, a gleaming silver model, was procured through his alleged Toronto-based money launderer, a jeweler with a knack for high-value transactions. The purchase price? A cool $11.9 million in early 2024, appreciating to an estimated $13 million by the time authorities valued it. Under the hood, a monstrous 6.9-liter V12 engine derived from racing tech delivers 631 horsepower, propelling the car from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 3.5 seconds, and topping out at over 200 miles per hour. The design is pure aggression, low-slung bodywork with massive air intakes, a long hood balancing the mid-engine layout, and aerodynamic elements inspired by Le Mans prototypes. Carbon fiber construction keeps weight down, while the interior mixes race-ready minimalism with luxury touches, bucket seats and fine leather, a simple dashboard focused on performance gauges. Wedding reportedly cruised it through Mexico City's avenues, the exhaust note turning heads and reinforcing his untouchable status. But beyond thrill, it served as a laundering vehicle. Bought with dirty money, it could be resold clean. The FBI's seizure in November 2025, part of a broader asset freeze, stripped this symbol away, marking a crack in his armor. The $40 million motorcycle collection, 62 bikes. Shifting gears to 2 wheels, Wedding's motorcycle collection was nothing short of legendary. A hoard that would make any enthusiast green with envy. In late December 2025, during coordinated raids by Mexican authorities and international partners, 62 motorcycles were seized from warehouses and properties linked to Wedding, with a total valuation of $40 million. This wasn't a casual assemblage. It was a meticulously curated archive of racing history, focusing on the elite echelons of MotoGP and World Superbike Championship machines. MotoGP, the premier class of motorcycle road racing, features bikes that push the boundaries of engineering. 1,000 cubic centimeter engines producing over 250 horsepower, advanced electronics for traction control, and carbon fiber frames for agility. Wedding's collection included factory racers from powerhouse manufacturers, Ducati's Desmosedici models with their signature V4 Desmodromic engines, Yamaha's YZR-M1s, and Honda's RC213V prototypes boasting seamless shift gearboxes. Standouts were multiple bikes associated with Valentino Rossi, the Italian icon with 9 world championships. Rossi's machines, often in vibrant yellow liveries with his number 46, carried race-winning pedigrees from circuits like Valencia or Sepang. World Superbike entries added depth. Aprilia RSV 4S, Kawasaki ZX 10RS, and BMW S 1000 RRS, all modified for production-based racing. These bikes bore scars of competition, scuffed fairings from high-side crashes, worn tires from qualifying laps, and sponsor decals from eras when tobacco brands dominated. Photos from the seizure depicted rows of these mechanical marvels in a temperature-controlled facility, some on display stands. others crated for transport. Experts marveled at the rarity. Pieces like a 2004 Ducati 999R from the Superbike series or a 2010 Yamaha from Rossi's championship run are irreplaceable, their value stemming from provenance and performance history. Wedding's passion for these bikes likely echoed his snowboarding days. The rush of speed, the precision of control, the risk of wipeouts. Funded by drug profits, the collection doubled as an investment, appreciating over time. The seizure not only deprived him of joy, but exposed the scale of his laundering, with authorities auctioning items to benefit anti-narcotics programs. Real estate empire, guaranteed by Edgar Aaron Vasquez Alvarado. Wedding's opulence extended to his residences, where he opted for the pinnacle of urban luxury in Mexico City's elite districts, Polanco and Santa Fe. Polanco, often called the Beverly Hills of Mexico, features elegant boulevards lined with high-end shops like Louis Vuitton and Gucci, gourmet restaurants, and cultural landmarks. Santa Fe, a modern business hub, boasts skyscrapers with corporate headquarters and upscale malls. Wedding leased high-end penthouses here through intricate fronts, avoiding direct ownership to evade scrutiny. These properties were palatial, multi-level suites spanning thousands of square feet, with private elevators leading to entrances secured by retinal scans. Interiors boasted marble floors imported from Italy, custom kitchens with sub-zero appliances, and home theaters with surround sound. Rooftop terraces offered infinity pools, outdoor kitchens for alfresco dining, and helipads for quick arrivals. Bedrooms featured king-sized beds with Egyptian cotton sheets, walk-in closets rivaling boutiques, and en-suite spas with jacuzzis and steam rooms. Wedding used these spaces for more than rest. They hosted strategy sessions, lavish parties with imported champagne, and romantic escapades, all under the guise of legitimate business. The guarantor enabling this lifestyle was Edgar Aaron Vasquez Alvarado, dubbed the General. A former senior Mexican law enforcement officer, Vasquez leveraged his connections to high-ranking officials for protection. U.S. Treasury sanctions outlined his role, providing intel from police databases to locate threats, facilitating leases through his energy and fuel companies as fronts, and ensuring financial transactions flew under radar. Vasquez's involvement allowed Wedding to reside openly in these districts, his name absent from documents, replaced by corporate entities. This setup provided not just comfort but tactical edges: proximity to international airports for escapes, embassies for diplomatic maneuvering, and financial institutions for quick transfers. However, such reliance on one figure created vulnerability, as Vasquez's eventual sanctioning unraveled the web. Cryptocurrency holdings, $3.2 million plus in wallets. Part of $250 million laundered. Embracing the digital revolution, Wedding's operation integrated cryptocurrency aggressively, using it for transactions that traditional banking couldn't touch. USDT Tether, a stablecoin pegged to the USD, and Bitcoin, the original crypto, facilitated millions in movements. Treasury reports detailed over $207 million in USDT transferred via one associate in just 6 months of 2024. Wedding personally controlled cold wallets, hardware devices like Ledger or Trezor, stored offline for security, holding at least $3.2 million, accessible via complex passphrases. This slice was part of a colossal $250 million laundering scheme. Funds from street sales were converted to crypto through mixers like Tornado Cash, obfuscating origins. Then they flowed into legitimate investments, NFT art, DEFI lending platforms, or even mining farms in energy-cheap regions. Wedding's team used over-the-counter brokers for large swaps, avoiding exchange KYC. Crypto's advantages: borderless, pseudonymous, 24/7 availability, enhanced cash flow, allowing instant payments to suppliers or hitmen without bank trails. Wedding diversified into altcoins like Ethereum for smart contracts automating deals. This tech-forward approach showcased his adaptability, but blockchain's transparency eventually aided investigators tracing wallets, cash reserves. Complementing digital assets, Wedding maintained vast cash reserves, physical currency in USD, CAD, and MXN, stashed in secure locations. Safes in penthouses held hundreds of thousands for daily extravagance, while buried caches in rural properties provided emergency funds. These reserves, estimated in the millions, funded bribes, spontaneous purchases, or flight if needed. Prosecutors noted how Wedding siphoned enterprise profits for personal enrichment, building these stockpiles through couriers carrying cash across borders and hidden vehicle panels. Cash's tangibility offered comfort in a digital age, ensuring operations continued even if accounts froze. This lifestyle, cars, bikes, homes, crypto, cash, painted Wedding as a modern mogul, but maintaining it demanded a sinister undercurrent, violence to safeguard the empire. The dark side, paid hits, and the murder budget. Beneath the veneer of luxury lay a foundation of brutality. Wedding allegedly earmarked a murder budget, dedicated funds for assassinations, ensuring threats vanished swiftly. This wasn't ad hoc. It was budgeted like any business expense, with allocations for hitmen's salaries, weapons, and intel. When rivals encroached, debtors defaulted, or informants surfaced, orders issued without remorse. Target: Jonathan Acevedo Garcia. Jonathan Acevedo Garcia's fate illustrates this cold efficiency. A prison acquaintance turned partner, Acevedo Garcia managed Canadian distributions, but cracked under pressure, becoming an FBI informant. In January 2025, at a Colombian restaurant, he was ambushed and shot 5 times in the head. A professional hit leaving no doubt. Prosecutors claim Wedding authorized a bounty, 150,000 Canadian dollars plus 30 kilograms of cocaine, a hefty incentive in criminal circles. Trackers used corrupted law enforcement data to locate him, executing the order to prevent testimony. This elimination not only silenced a voice but sent a message: betrayal equals death. Jagtar and Harbhajan Sidhu. The Sidhu murders underscore the collateral horror. In November 2023 in Caledon, Ontario, Jagtar and Harbhajan Sidhu were slain in their home. Their daughter shot 13 times, yet surviving. This wasn't targeted. It was mistaken identity over a hijacked cocaine shipment linked to Wedding's network. Wedding and a lieutenant allegedly greenlit the hit, carried out by a salaried enforcer, a full-time assassin on payroll for reliability. The gunman, armed with suppressed firearms, struck at night, leaving a scene of carnage. The daughter's survival provided key testimony, but the loss devastated the family, highlighting how Wedding's empire rippled destruction to innocence. Prosecutors tied Wedding to additional killings, all advancing the drug trade. Rivals gunned down in turf wars, thieves executed as examples, witnesses intimidated or worse. Operational security spending. Safety required investment. Wedding allocated 10,000 Canadian dollars monthly for social media intel. Specialists scanning platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and dark web forums for mentions of his name, operations, or threats. They employed bots for automated alerts, hackers for deep dives, and influencers to spread counter-narratives. This digital vigilance complemented payoffs to insiders: corrupt Mexican police for raid warnings, Canadian border agents for safe passages, U.S. officials for dossier access. Bribes, delivered in cash envelopes or crypto drops, bought years of evasion, allowing his open lifestyle. The enabler network hierarchy. Wedding's longevity stemmed from a hierarchical enabler network, structured like a Fortune 500 company with specialized roles. Lawyers, Top-tier firms in Mexico, Canada, and the U.S., experts in international law, handled defenses, asset protection, and extradition battles. They filed motions to delay, negotiated pleas, and shielded finances. Money launderers. Pros like the Toronto jeweler converted cash into assets, while crypto gurus managed digital flows. One handled $200+ million using jewelry stores, car dealerships, and real estate flips. Enforcers, dedicated hit squads, salaried with benefits like health coverage through fronts, executed orders with military precision, trained in firearms and evasion. Protector, Edgar Aaron Vasquez. Alvarado, the general, orchestrated official cover, leaking intel and quashing investigations via his ex-law enforcement ties. Intel/propaganda. A team of tech-savvy operatives monitored surveillance, ran disinformation campaigns on social media, and hacked rivals' comms for advantage. This ecosystem kept Wedding insulated, wealthy, and free, until external pressures mounted. Downfall. The $40 million motorcycle collection seized. Diplomatic fallout. The end began with subtle shifts, increased surveillance, flipped associates, accumulating evidence. Overconfidence bred mistakes. Flaunting assets invited scrutiny. Trusting too many created leaks. Betrayals, like informants providing wiretap leads, widened fissures. Law enforcement responded with force. The FBI placed Wedding on the 10 most wanted, offering $250,000 rewards. RCMP and DEA coordinated building cases from seized shipments. In late December 2025, Mexican raids targeted Wedding's holdings, confiscating the $40 million motorcycles, CLK-GTR, art, cash, and Olympic memorabilia. The bike seizure, with its viral photos, symbolized excess's cost. Diplomatic tensions flared. U.S. sanctions in November 2025 froze assets for Wedding and associates, pressuring Mexico to act. Collaboration intensified. Mexico's FIU tracked finances. Colombia extradited suppliers. Canada secured borders. Vasquez's network collapsed under sanctions. His influence neutralized. The climax. January 23, 2026, Mexican special forces arrested Wedding in a high-stakes operation, extraditing him to the U.S. Facing 17 felonies, drug conspiracy, murder plots, laundering, he pleaded not guilty, now detained awaiting trial, potentially yielding life sentences. Aftermath included dismantled networks, arrested enablers, and assets repurposed for justice. Closing. Today, Ryan Wedding resides in a Stark U.S. federal facility, his billionaire trappings replaced by prison garb and routine. The former Olympian-turned-kingpin awaits judgment, his empire in ruins. This saga reveals how gifts like athletic talent can devolve into tools of destruction when greed intervenes. It exposes the enablers, tech, corruption, luxury, allowing crime to flourish until global resolve intervenes. Reality check? The drug trade's glamour masks profound suffering. Addicted lives, bereaved families, eroded societies. Victims like the Citis and Acevedo Garcia remind us of the true price. What shocks you more? Wedding's fall from grace, or the system's delay in stopping him? Share in comments. If this expose gripped you, like and subscribe for more true crime insights. Be vigilant.